Control over grandchildren. This is the next assumption when we look at parent-child estrangement between adult children and their parents. My name is Kara Croswick-Brindle, and as a mental health therapist serving those adult children, this is an assumption we're talking about. Maybe there is concern that as the adult child pursues estrangement from their parent, that the grandchildren will not be seen by that person. That is a possibility. Is that coming from a place of protection? Is there a concern for the adult child that any abuse, neglect, trauma that they experience with their parent would be recreated with their children, the grandchildren? Is that the justification for limited contact? For a lot of these adult children, it's a painful experience to not be talking to their very own parent, and they don't necessarily want their children to have grandparents, right? Maybe family feels very important, but it needs to be safe. It needs to be healthy. So oftentimes when I work with adult children, this is a piece they sit in for quite a while. Can I find a way for my child to have a relationship with their grandparent? Is there a way to do that without harming me, without hurting me, without reinforcing trauma, abuse, and neglect from my own childhood? Is the protective instinct coming up because they don't want what happened to them to happen to their children? If we can look at it from this lens, it invites a lot more compassion. It's not just, you're not letting me see my grandchild. Now it's, you're trying to protect them. You're trying to make this healthy. You want some evidence that what happened to you isn't going to happen again. As a parent myself, this resonates. Of course, most parents want what's best for their children. They want something better for their children than what they had. Can grandparents show up differently? Absolutely. Maybe if they've healed themselves, if they've done their own work, maybe they aren't going to recreate that trauma on their grandkids. I hear it quite often, that parents and grandparent scenario, that as a grandparent, they look almost completely different than when they parented their own children. And that might be a blessing here if there's something that was significantly traumatic for the adult child to estrange from their parent in the first place. So having control over grandchildren is an assumption. Maybe it feels like those grandkids are a pawn in this greater game between the adult child and their parent, but it shouldn't be. We know how painful that is. We know that's not helpful to the children when it comes to having a grandparent relationship, that they want to have a relationship. They probably have questions for their parent. So this isn't simple. The assumption is it's easy. They rip their grandchildren away from them, and that's it. That's what the media is saying. My hope is from this video, it allows you to have a little bit more curiosity and compassion around what that adult child is thinking about as to why they might be saying, I'm limiting or restricting my contact between my kids and my parent. Each person's story is unique. Each person's story is different. But by asking ourselves these questions and evoking some curiosity, maybe we can challenge this assumption a little bit more in our community, that it's not just I'm using my kids as a way to hurt you as my estranged parent. That's not oftentimes what this is truly about. It's oftentimes about the instinct to protect. Join me in our next video on assumptions of estrangement. I'll see you there.